So, yo, I got to tell the truth. I'm feeling a certain way. Okay. I know you saw the title about Kai Cenat not being hip hop media. Look, hear me out. Just hear me out real quick. Cause I gotta tell the truth. I gotta tell my opinion. I gotta keep it straight. Kai Cenat is not hip hop media. Now here's why. First, I want to say respect to his platform. Because he's building, he's been working, he's he's the center of a whole new lane. Streaming is a whole entity of its own. So kudos to him. He's at the top of the game over there, and really doing it. And honestly, I think he does it on the back of his work, not just doing outrageous stuff. And some of these other folks, I ain't going. I ain't gotta get into that. I feel like they just get popular off of just saying whatever. Seems like Kai is really working, building one of the most popular platforms, one of the most popular personalities. So, gotta give it to him for sure. Um, thing is, though, streaming, streaming is streaming. Streaming is entertainment. Streaming is not necessarily focused on hip hop. Now, don't get me wrong. I really do. I believe Casanati is hip hop. These are the culture. I think it's hard to be black and not be of hip hop culture, to be honest. They blend so effortlessly sometimes. He covers hip hop culture stuff, right? Like, so that gives him an edge. Yeah, I get it. At the same time, if a news outlet covers a concert of your favorite rapper, does that make that hip hop media? I don't know. If a if a if Ari Melber has the clips on, Ari Melber of MSNBC has the clips on, or Joe Budden on, does that make him hip hop media now? Now, that's my biggest point. What are we talking about when we're talking about hip hop media? Because I feel like I think of a outlet that is dedicated to hip hop, that's analyzing the music, that's giving their opinions, that's exploring artists, new artists, that's sometimes lyrical breakdowns, that's what's happening, what's trending in the business. That is all those different elements of hip hop, right? Some of it may not have to do with music. Some of it may have to do with dance. Some of it may have to do with DJing. Some of it may have to do with less of the rap side, but the musical side of things could be tools to create hip hop. All these different things are hip hop, and that is the main focus. And focusing on that is what makes something hip hop media. Kai does that every once in a while. He's about entertainment, which is okay. There's nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. Kai is of the culture. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm not trying to argue that here. But those elements it doesn't make his platform hip hop media. And that's straight up. Like, it just doesn't. Let me see here. We got this I got this article, and so we're gonna check that thing. I said not. All right. So Complex came out with their hip hop media power rankings, right? So let's get into it a little bit. At this point, Kai Cenat needs no introduction. The streamer turned cultural force sits atop our hip hop media power list this year, and frankly, it's not even close. Hmm. Tell me more. As a vanguard of Gen Z streamers, Kai is a superstar powered by a mix of relentless work ethic. Let me read, but I spoke to that earlier, and charisma. Whether he's catching up with fellow AMP creators or chopping it up with rappers like Nicki Minaj, 21 Savage, or Offset, the 23-year-old has become a tastemaker without ever claiming to be a music critic or journalist. Without ever claiming to be a music critic or journalist. Those are elements of media, right? Just because uh who they got? I don't even know who the talk show people is no more. You know, Trevor Noah used to be on there or whatever, but just because Trevor Noah has a guest on his show doesn't make his show hip hop media, right? Without even focusing, without ever claiming to be a music critic. I'm sorry. You could have a hip hop channel that's purely based on dance, but I feel like the best way to be a hip hop channel is to try to encompass all of it. And let's be honest, music is the forefront. Music is the forefront of hip hop, especially with dance almost just fading away uh, in some aspects and not as popular as it once was. It If you're not claiming to be a music critic, or at least analyzing it and taking your time with things, like how could you be hip hop media? Um, when you have these guests on, right? Personally, I could be wrong. Y'all correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, right? At the same time, what kind of conversations, what kind of music conversations are you having when these people are on? Are you talking about lyrics? Are you talking about song structure? Are you talking about uh, how they came up and developed their skills? What were their musical influences around them? Are you having these real conversations focused on hip hop? I think it's always great to to know somebody. You know, we want to know who Nicki Minaj is. Cool. And if there is also no hip hop focus, or if hip hop is not the main focus, then how can you call yourself a hip hop media? All right. So, um, let's get something straight. Let's go. Let's keep going. I'm going with the article. Let's get something straight. There's no one else on this list making headlines purely off their personality and opinion like Kai is. When Kai suggested during a live stream that crowd noise during Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance was enhanced, that became a headline. When he called Lil Baby's Wham, Who Harder Than Me, mid, it was a headline. When he hyped Travis Scott's Jack Boys 2, scoring it a 9.5, that was a headline. That's the level of influence we're dealing with here. The level of influence. So, help me understand this. Are we saying our hip hop media is based off of influence? Now, I do believe it should be part of it. Like you had, you know, XXL magazines, Source with the Michael Awards and all, you know, the five mics and all these different things. Everybody was reading those. That's what made it really powerful. But it wasn't merely the popularity. It wasn't just the influence. It was their focus on hip hop. It was their critiques. It was their exploration. It was their platforming various artists and exploring what's new, what they're doing regionally. All these different things play into a part. Saying Jack Boys 2 is a 9.5, which it ain't. Objectively, Jack Boys 2 is not a 9.5. They ain't saying nothing. The beats is boring. I am a Travis Scott fan. I also feel like he peaked at Birds in a Trap and what was it? Astro World. That those were that was his peak. For me personally, I like those type of beats. I don't have to have the most lyrics for everything, but that was a sleepy album. So just because now, let me say something. He might feel it's a 9.5. That's all good and dandy. Why? What are you basing this on? How are you breaking this down? How you are delivering this? How is your focus on the hip hop of it all, or is it just vibes? Again, vibes is a part of hip hop, but it can't be everything. Where we at here? That was a horrible take, Jack Boys. What sets him apart even more is how much access he has and how generously he shares it. His streaming coverage of award shows from the Grammys to BET Awards is immersive. Viewers ride along with him through every moment, even awkward ones, like when he didn't recognize Wale. And his launch of a streamer university shows that he's thinking about those coming up behind him. Definitely give it to him for the streamer university stuff. It's good to get people in the loop, give people a chance, give people an edge, teach them something. And at the same time, access does not mean hip hop. If Nadeska interviewed Barack Obama, does that make her a political journalist now? No. Now, that does that mean she don't know nothing about politics? No. Does that mean she wouldn't give a good interview and ask him pertinent questions about politics and what's going on today? No, she might give a great political interview, but that doesn't necessarily make her a political journalist. You know why? Because her main focus is hip hop journalism. We got to stop letting popularity be the only metric to determine what our culture, hip hop culture in particular, is. We got to stop letting popularity dictate information that we get. We got to stop letting popularity dictate influence. Because I think about it to myself, when have black people specifically, right, depended on the popular opinion for our value and our worth? Listening. We haven't. All this new uh all these numbers and everybody talking about first week sales and blah blah blah. It's a popularity contest. It don't mean nothing. Not by itself. Now you can add some of those elements in collectively and make a case for something great. But popularity doesn't mean that it's hip hop. So there you go. That's my opinion. Just a little quick video from the backyard. You know what I'm saying? Just doing my thug thizzle. All right, y'all. Donnie Chocolate here. Like, subscribe, bang that button. You know what I'm talking about. So I'll let you later. Peace.